Today's troubles may not seem so bad. Businesses have reopened, there's warm weather, and we have a vaccine. How bad can it be? Although there's a new Delta variant of the virus, and 1 out of every 9 people is getting sick, often our pleasure-seeking nature tends to overlook these grim details. After all, communicable diseases have existed since our hunter-gatherer days, and humankind has already gone through malaria, tuberculosis, leprosy, influenza, smallpox, and others. If we look at the situation in the world now, rarely are scores of people killed. There is no pestilence that is threatening to decimate half the population, no tyrant that has taken over half the world, and most of us are not dying of starvation. However, if we look closer, we actually are not far from having to face any of these problems. And the problems that are already in our face are quite serious. We may not be perishing in droves like before, but the tolerance that we have today is also not nearly that of our ancestors. We are quite spoiled by all the lavishes of modern life, quite sensitive to any disturbances to our daily routine, and suffer much more from far less pain. This may sound like a flaw, but only if we think that there's no rhyme or reason to the pain we experience. In truth, all pain is purposeful, and there's a higher plan behind everything that transpires in our world. Pain stirs us into action, and nowadays we need fewer afflictions in order to move and adapt. If such levels of pain weren't enough for us, we'd be seeing levels of anguish similar to the atrocities of our medieval ancestors. These relatively mild crises are transforming us. Nature is pushing us gently from behind to establish different, better relationships between us. Bit by bit, we are engendering a new humanity, where people feel connected and mutually dependent. In this new humanity, it is becoming evident that a virus anywhere is a virus everywhere. And this isn't just pertinent to viruses, but to anything that pains humanity. Slowly but surely we are beginning to realize that we are like cells of a single body, and we need to work together to maintain an equilibrium. Look at the floods that have inundated towns and villages all over the world, which affect our transport networks and contaminate water. The wildfires that have colored the moon orange on several occasions, the social tensions that seem almost identical in different parts of the world, and of course the virus that started in China and affected each of our lives in multiple ways. We have become a global village, and more people are waking up to this fact. Nothing proves it more equivocally than our troubles. Yet we can turn this bane into a boom. Our closeness is inescapable. Not only are we social creatures by nature, and we depend on each other to be happy, but the world has become more interconnected than ever before, and our fates are continuously intertwined. This very closeness can be our salvation. This closeness is already a fact. However, when there's animosity and competition between us, the closeness becomes crippling. When brotherhood and friendship prevail and rule in society, the closeness becomes advantageous. As much as we may like to, we cannot disconnect from the rest of the world. We may want to run away and move to a remote island, but we'll suffer the consequences of that sooner rather than later in this new interconnected world. Nature simply won't allow us to escape. That is because nature is gently pushing us through all the troubles toward greater and better connection with our fellow human beings. More and more we have to begin to care for each other like brothers and sisters, and care for our home, which is this entire planet. If we want to stop all the suffering, our only option is to turn our foul connections into positive, beneficial connections. Understanding this is the first step, and by starting to treat others better by rising above our anger and disagreements, we are certainly moving in the right direction. Unity is the ultimate goal, and the cure for all our ills and agonies. Each of us is responsible, and each decides whether to tilt the scale toward our common cure or our common suffering.